y'all doing? This is Cody Flowers with the YMCA. I am the Youth Program Director here at the Y. We are fortunate enough to have our certified YMCA art teacher, Miss Hanners, who teaches our Young in Art class. She is on hand and she's at home actually, getting ready to take some videos for you guys so you guys can see some easy art projects you could do with the supplies that may be laying around your house. So without further ado, we're going to transition this video to her and her humble abode.
Okay, Ms. Hanners here again. I had shown you the finished kind of product as far as the drawing and talked about how we're going to start adding some color if you choose to go that route with your design for Mandala. But I thought I'd go ahead and do a little bit of coloring on this one and just kind of talk about some coloring techniques. I'm also going to show you a finished project here in a minute. When you're deciding to do color, you can do certain color schemes. You can work with warm and cool colors. You can choose, just primary colors in certain areas, secondary colors, complementary colors. So again, there's kind of endless choices on that. But some things I just want to kind of mention if I just do kind of a little demo here. I've got some of my little markers that I had out the other day. But, again, if you're coloring, like let's say you have a shape here of, just a basic square, okay? Or you have a circle. And you're just wanting to color those in. When I first start teaching kids in kindergarten, sometimes I've even had a few cousins that I start with even sooner because I think the earlier you get them started doing the right thing, the better that they'll get. So if you notice I outlined it, or it's kind of more like an inside line, and I always tell students, try to use that as a guideline, staying inside the lines. Pick a direction, stick with it. So, if I'm going to go up and down, it's best to go up and down. Now with markers, if you're coloring with markers, again, you can use crayons, color pencils. I personally like markers because I think they're very bold and bright for this particular project. But think about thin and thickness. If you use the tip of the marker, it's thinner. If you tilt it on its side, just a little helpful hint, it's thicker. Now I picked up a little pencil there, so I'm probably going to get a little bit of black line in there. It might blend in, we'll see. But again, just kind of going in the same direction. I show my students, if you kind of do this up and down, side to side, up and down, side to side, you get overlapping lines, with anything you use really. I mean, you can smooth out colored pencil and crayon a little bit better, but it's always best to just color, in the same direction. Try to get all your empty spaces. So let's say I want to color the circle, again, I might do the same thing. Now I have experienced sometimes when you do a little outline and you wait too long and it dries, it does kind of show up a little bit differently when you go to color. So if you're going to put this inside line, try to color as best you can. But, I've seen kids, whatever works for you, but you could do a little bit more of a curvy kind of coloring on this particular shape. But, again, the biggest advice I can say is that you have worked so hard at creating your designs and your project. And I tell kids at school, at the YMCA, wherever, when I'm teaching, that if you work so hard on your coloring, so hard on your drawing and your designs, you want to have good coloring to complement that and match that. So you've come this far, so make sure you really take your time in coloring. I will say too, if you have certain things like where you don't want to color something in all the way, if you have like kind of a wavy line or maybe even like a straight line, some fun things that you can do, you can just put a line of color beside it. It doesn't necessarily have to, you don't have to color in an entire section. I will say with this, the less white, the better. Some white is okay, obviously, for some empty space. But if you, want this thing to really stand out and catch people's attention, I would say the more color you add, the better. So those are just some fun little helpful techniques. And again, if I did the tip of the marker, see how it's skinny? And then I could go back to thin again. Again, I love art because you can do so many different things. So I'm going to go ahead and show you an end kind of result here, an end project. And so this is what it looks like. again, I worked really hard at trying to stay inside the lines, color in the same direction. Even after I colored, I went back in and I added some more marker, because when I looked at it as a whole, I was kind of like, okay, what else I could do? What else could I do? You know, here it's not like I have black markers, so I chose to add that in myself. It might be a little hard to see the yellow, but what I did here was I kind of outlined it a little bit on those little squiggles. And then the inside, it's kind of like a little half moon here design. And again, just having fun, making it about you, you know, is kind of even more special sometimes. So anyway, I think you can see that okay there, but again, this is kind of like the final project. With this, if you want to just leave it on paper, you could frame it. You could even, you know, maybe cut around these designs, or if you decide you want to cut them off, that's okay too. You could actually take a hole punch, or just take your pencil and punch in a hole. You could put a couple holes in it and add string, you know, add some yarn, or you know, if there's any kind of random leftover string laying around the house, you could, you know, connect it to it and hang it up on the wall. So, you know, there's so many different ways you can display it, but again, that's the finished product. So thank you for watching.